Hola,
Bom dia,
and welcome to our continuing adventure. I'm Ross,
and I'm Kathleen.
and thank you for tuning in. If you're a subscriber, thank you for your continued support and encouragement. If this is the first time viewing our channel, please like, subscribe, and definitely comment. We would love to hear what you have to say. Wow, can you believe it? We have been here how long?
Ano.
1 whole year, 12 months, and we are having a blast. Being here 1 whole year, we definitely have a lot to share, but it's way too much for this video because we could go on and on for hours and hours. So
Make you crazy.
It make you very crazy, and you probably tune us out. But there are a couple of things that we did focus on wanting to share with you. Definitely there have been challenges. And just as a reminder, we did move here sight unseen. Some people would go, that's pretty crazy, but we did. And that was based on spending a lot of time in Europe, particularly in France. And some of you may know that we walked the Camino Francais in 2012, which is 500 miles across Spain. So we spent a lot of time visiting little hill towns. And the thing that we really were focused on was living the lifestyle that fit our desires of living someplace without owning a car, and also where we could live affordably, comfortably, and also a place where we could actually be part of the community.
If that is indeed what we wanted, and we talked about it a lot, about we want to become part of the community, not only the expat community, but start to make Portuguese friends. The first month or two that we were here, just getting settled in our apartment and learning how things work so we can feed ourselves and explore around a little bit. But basically, I was really keen on familiarizing myself with the supermarkets so that I could shop and not be a total stressed out mess by the time I got home. Okay. And in the beginning, it is kind of like that because things are way different. There's a lot of differences, and I'm not going to call those challenges, but they're learning experiences.
And thank goodness we had the supermarkets, because when we first got here, we didn't know anybody and we needed to eat. And they've got some really great food, and it is presented sometimes in different ways. But we definitely got comfortable with doing that, just like Kathleen said. But in order to assimilate into the neighborhood, that's why we moved here. We didn't move here to be tourists. We moved here to be part of the community, to learn what it means to become more Portuguese. And you can't do that unless you start connecting with the neighborhood.
Once the decision was made that we were going to begin frequenting and shopping from our local shops and businesses for food and other items, it was quite interesting to see how that all evolved. One of the things that we learned from Rick Steves is when you go into a store, this is really for Europe. When you go into a store, it's polite and courteous to say, here in Portugal, bom dia, or boa tarde. And so greet the shop owner with eye contact and say that. And even if they're busy, if you just throw it out there, they hear it. And then when you leave, it's the same way too. And that's before you start handling all the jazz.
Where you start poking around, looking at stuff.
Yeah, it's like you've greeted them. And then at the end, you say obrigada, and you can say boa tarde, or, good afternoon, bye, or,
ciao, ciao.
Até logo, or teja. There's different ways you can say see you later. But that politeness, that's different than being American.
And
it really is.
Yes, definitely. And of course, a lot of people here in Porto speak English, and as soon as we open our mouths, they know that we're probably Americans. But again, that greeting a lot of times didn't stop just there. It started a conversation. And to our amazement, in fact, the first Portuguese person, who's a very close friend of ours now, the night we stumbled into this shop, it's a specialty grocery store, a specialty food market. It was like open arms, a hug. Thank you for choosing my country. I'm so glad you're here. We have so much to offer to you. And we were like amazed.
It's amazing.
And that has been, I would say, the reaction to just about every shopkeeper
Really.
that we have become very familiar with. And it's so refreshing. And it has been very easy for us to become part of the community,
It gets
to
easier
assimilate.
and easier. The more we do that and practice it, the easier it becomes, the less intimidating. In the very, very beginning, the first place I was determined to go in
Right.
was the butcher shop, the talue. And it turned out to be so fabulous, but I was really nervous about it. I was totally
Yeah.
intimidated because it looks real different here. And I have some ideas on why that might be. It's just the way things are processed and cut, and they don't use meat glue here. Things are different.
Well, plus all the meat is in the counter. It's not wrapped up and packaged up.
Right.
I mean,
at the grocery store, at the supermarket, a lot of it is wrapped up already in plastic. But in, I thought, oh boy, there's not even hamburger there. You have to ask for the meat and have it ground. So I had quite a lot to learn, but our butcher knew that, and he got from me and Ross that we wanted to learn from him. Now, his English is very minimal.
Very.
Okay, so that's an opportunity.
But he's not shy either.
And he corrects me, and when I ask what things are, and if I say it in English, now he just flips over, he just hears it and he knows and he says it in Portuguese so I can practice it.
So yeah, what we've discovered in our adventuring is that people the world over, they really desire to connect with one another. And that depends a lot on us. And we have to make ourselves available. So one of the key factors, people will ask, well, what's the most challenging thing, that you've gone through in your year here in Porto? And I'll answer, it's me. I'm the challenge, because the challenge for me is to stay in a learning mode, to be ready to see and experience new things, and not be like, oh, I know this already, but allow the people that the shops we are in and the people that we're connecting with to be in a place of allowing them to be my teacher. And I think that is a really important piece in moving to any new country, because everything's different. The culture is different. The way, just the healthcare system here is a totally different paradigm than what we're used to in the United States. So everything, yes, sometimes it gets frustrating, but we're here because we want to have a quality of life that is way up there on the list of
wonderful things.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
wonderful things. Right.
As the weeks progressed, we need things, right? We need a haircut. We need something for the apartment. Opportunity to search out a shop in our neighborhood and give it a go.
You forgot one of the most important things. We need wine.
Wine.
That was
and we can buy a lot of wine in the supermarket. But they have a bottle shop right next to our butcher. Actually, it's family. And that was a great experience. That just, and a lot of those items in smaller shops are not in supermarkets. So it makes it even more fun.
The one thing interesting about the bottle shop, we get a certain wine there and a certain amount of wine there, but it got to, after a couple of visits, it was like I'd walk in and Casimir, the owner, would go grab the box of wine that we keep in the fridge. I didn't need any Portuguese. He already knew what I wanted,
they have quite the stash there.
but that's what making connection is all about.
Yes, and he has zero.
Casimir is, I would say, like, bon dia, and ask you to say, como-se-deezh-en-Portugayzh, how are you? And he'd start rattling off in Portuguese, like I spoke it fluently, but we would just smile at each other. And anyway.
Yeah, he's cute. Anyway, so in the neighborhood, little by little, familiarizing ourselves with what these little shops have, and then expanding out our radius a little bit. But usually we have a neighborhood where it's like 10 minutes in either direction, and we can
Right.
find almost everything we need.
And what Kathleen just said is right. We live very compactly. And that's how you get to know your neighborhood. You're not traveling on the metro to go all the way over here to get something, all the way over there. You look at, where can I find that in my neighborhood? And that's what has been so adventurous for us and exciting, is finding these little places and making the connections. Even for lunch, they have Protuguese here, which is a plate of the day. It's usually you have soup, wine, coffee, and your main dish. So the first place we went is right up the street. We've been there several times. When we come in, the owner greets us. She knows our names. Our favorite, one of our favorite restaurants that we've been to so far is right across the plaza from our apartment. It's like we're family. It's crazy. I mean, they all know us by name. We know all them by name. And that's because we took time from both directions to actually speak to one another. Just a simple thing of going into our Eastern European grocery store. We asked, the young lady there was helping us find some sauce for meatballs. We picked something out, couldn't read it, but we got an idea of what was in it. Looked like it might work well. And it did. They were amazing. And after the holidays, we went back in there to get something. And the first thing, she said, "Hello, how are you guys doing?" And the first thing she asked was, "How are the meatballs?" Are you kidding me? I mean,
She didn't really sound that way,
yeah,
because she has a little bit of English, but
yes.
mostly Ukraine and Portuguese. But
Yeah,
that's what she was asking us.
Wow, that was, we're not the only ones that shop in there, but
No,
anyway.
It's great. It's so fun. It's so fun.
That's the big part.
It
It's
is.
just a lot of fun connecting with these people from not only here in Porto or Portuguese, but other people that have moved here and are creating a life in Portugal as well.
So one of the things that I have found that helps me out a whole lot was just a handful of Portuguese phrases that I can grab one, and they're so helpful when you're going into a shop, especially when they don't speak any English at all or so minimal. Um, in the description below, we're going to put those, and they might be helpful to you, because they were definitely helpful to me as well. And what else do you have?
Oh yeah, and it's great to have those in your pocket. And for me, I'm still, I'll say a Portuguese phrase, and they'll look at me like, "Oh man, I probably didn't say that very well," but they're expecting me to speak English, is what they told me. And it's like, so I catch them off guard when I use Portuguese. But again, it's another opportunity to have that connection and laugh with one another. So
it is pretty funny, because sometimes when you go for lunch, like for a place that is very busy, they know, you can tell right off the bat as soon as you walk in that you're not speaking Portuguese, and they dig out that English menu. Now, that's like going to the supermarket. It's a real easy deal easier to read that English menu as opposed to keeping it Portuguese. So it's your call. Ask them for the menu in Portuguese and go for it and struggle, and the rewards usually are pretty fun.
Pretty fun. There's one of our wait persons over here, young man, across our plaza, and he assigned me. He said, "You come in with a new Portuguese word every day, or when you come in." So a couple of weeks went by, and I came in, or we were out on the plaza, maybe having a drink and a munchie, and I didn't say anything in Portuguese. He said, "I just want you to know you're failing."
He did.
And
then he looks at me and says, he's supposed to be doing his homework.
So I have encouragement, and I just have to be a little bit more methodical with my Portuguese anyway.
And we tell them we're going to take a class, and we're searching right now on how to register for that class. So that's our next challenge. As we wrap up, we have a really special treat that we want to share. We have pictures of the people, the local business owners, that we see all the time, that we've made connections with. And we're just going to show those photos to you real quick.
And if you'd like even more information, I just completed a podcast with Josh of Expats Everywhere as we discuss and explore what it's like to live here in Portugal. The link is in the description below. Thank you again for your support and encouragement. Please like, subscribe, and comment. There will be details in the description below. And as we always say,
What adventure are you on today?